Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is create a resource group. Now I'm doing all of this in the command line, so I'm just going to type in the instruction AZ group create, and I'm going to name this OSS demo, and then I want to put the resource group into the West Europe location. With that succeeded, what we will now do is clean up our screen by pressing Ctrl L. And now we'll go ahead and create our network. So we're going to use the command AZ network vnet create. I'm going to name this OSS vnet, and then I want to put it into the resource group OSS demo. Finally, I want to make sure that I accept the defaults for the address space, but I want to create a subnet named production. And we can see that that has succeeded. So let's clean up the screen one more time. And then what we will do is we will go ahead and generate our PKI key. Now I'm just going to accept all of the defaults here, and it will put it into a key store. We can see that our key has been created using the secure hash algorithm 256. So again, we will now clean the screen by pressing Ctrl and L, and now we'll begin to build out our virtual machine. And I'm going to do this using the command AZ VM create. I'm going to give the machine a name of OSS VM. I'm going to choose to put it into the resource group OSS demo. And then I'm going to choose the CentOS image. Next, I need to specify an admin username. And I'm going to use the name OSS demo admin. From here, I will specify the SSH key that we just created. And I will point it to the key store. Next, we'll create a network security group, which is effectively our firewall, and I will call this OSS VM NSG. I will point it to the production subnet. And I will specify the VNet OSS VNet. Now I need to size the virtual machine, and I'm going to go ahead and choose a standard D1 V2. Finally, I will give it a public IP address, and we will name this public IP address OSS VM-PIP. Now, like any virtual machine being created, this will obviously take a few minutes to provision. So what I'll do is I'll speed up the video so we can progress. And we can see that we're successful. Now, I want to make note of the public IP address to use later. The next thing I want to do is I want to open up the firewall port, because this is going to be used as a web server. So I'll use the command AZ VM open port. We're going to use the group OSS demo, and we want to focus on the OSS VM. The port that I want to open is port 80, and I want to set a priority of 100. So with our firewall set, what we'll now do is SSH into the virtual machine. So again, I will type in the command SSH OSS demo admin, and then I will use the @ sign and point to the IP address that I copied earlier. Now notice what happens once I authenticate. I'm going to accept the authentication prompts, but look what happens. I've gone from Daniel at Azure into OSS demo at OSS VM. So before we can start installing Docker, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we update it with the latest software updates. And I'm going to do this by using the command sudo yum update. Now this will take a few minutes, but once again, we will speed up the video so that we can progress. So if our update's complete, the next thing I want to do is point to the Docker repository. And we're going to do this using the command sudo yum config manager add repo. And you'll notice that all I'm doing is pointing to the Docker download file. With that done, what we will do is clear our screen, and then we will update our cache by using the command sudo yum make cache. With our cache updated, the next thing that we'll do is we'll go ahead and install Docker. So I'm going to use the command sudo yum install Docker. We're going to say yes to all the package installs. And then from there, what we will then do is enable Docker at startup. And then using the same command, sudo systemctl, we will then choose to start Docker. And that's it. We're now ready to go. Docker's installed on our Linux machine. So let's go ahead and test the installation. Now to do this, I'm going to use the command sudo docker run, and we're just going to run hello world. Now what will happen here is it will try and look for the repository locally. When it realizes it can't find it, it will pull it down and then run the container. And we can see that the message shows that the installation appears to be working correctly. Now we can go ahead and install our website. So I'm going to use the command sudo docker run, but this time I want to run it detached, or i.e. in the background. I want to map it to port 80, and then I want to name this OSS demo, and I'm going to point to the repository Azure Dan, doc repo, and then build a company in a day. Now again, what will happen is it will look locally. Once it sees it can't find it locally, it will pull it down from the Azure Dan repo. And our container is now complete. So to test this, I'm going to grab that IP address we noted earlier. I'm going to open up a new tab. And from there, paste the IP address in. And we can see that our container website is now running.